The Bible Study Podcast, episode 634. Today, the Bible Study Podcast continues the study of the book of Nehemiah with chapter 12. Welcome to the Bible Study Podcast. I'm your host, Chris Christensen. We have just two chapters left in Nehemiah, chapters 12 and 13, and then, actually, I do know what we're going to do next. We're going to go on to a study of the book of Galatians. Chapter 12 of Nehemiah. It's a list. Priests and Levites. These were the priests and Levites who returned with Zerubbabel, son of Shealtiel, and with Joshua. Seraiah, Jeremiah, Ezra, Amariah, Maluk, Hattush, Shechaniah, Rahum, Meremoth, Iddo, Ginnethon, Abijah, Mijamin, Moadiah, Bilgah, Shemaiah, Joiarib, Jedaiah, Salu, Amok, Hilkiah, and Jedaiah. These were the leaders of the priests and their associates in the days of Joshua. The Levites were Jeshua, Benui, Kadmiel, Sherebiah, Judah, and also Mattaniah, who together with his associates was in charge of the songs of thanksgiving. Bakbukiah and Uni, their associates, stood opposite them in the services. Joshua was the father of Joiakim, Joiakim the father of Elishib, Elishib the father of Joiada, Joiada the father of Jonathan, and Jonathan the father of Jaddua. In the days of Joiakim, these were the heads of the priestly families. Of Seraiah's family, Meraiah; of Jeremiah's, Hananiah; of Ezra's, Meshullam; of Meraiah's, Jehohanan; of Maluk's, Jonathan; of Shechaniah's, Joseph; of Harim's, Adnah; of Meremoth's, Helkai; of Iddo's, Zechariah; of Ginnethon's, Meshullam; of Abijah's, Zikri; of Miniamin's, and of Modiah's, Piltai; of Bilgah's, Shammua; of Shemaiah's, Jehonathan; of Joiarib's, Mattanai; of Jedaiah's, Uzi; of Shalu's, Kalai; of Amok's, Eber; of Hilkiah's, Hashabiah; of Jedaiah's, Nathaniel. The family heads of Levites in the days of Elishib, Joiada, Jonathan, and Jaddua, as well as those of the priests, were recorded in the reign of Darius the Persian. The family heads among the descendants of Levi up to the time of Johanan, son of Eliashib, were recorded in the books of the annals. And the leaders of the Levites were Hashabiah, Sherebiah, Jeshua, son of Kadmiel, and their associates, who stood opposite them to give praise and thanksgiving, one section responding to the other as prescribed by David, the man of God. Mattaniah, Bakbukiah, Abadiah, Meshullam, Talmon, and Akkub were gatekeepers who guarded the storerooms at the gates. They served in the days of Joiakim, son of Joshua, the son of Jozadak, and in the days of Nehemiah the governor, and of Ezra the priest, the teacher of the law. And so we've got, yet again, a list of priests and Levites. The thing I like about this list is not all the names and trying to pronounce them, which is always fun. But did you notice what their jobs were? We have people who were in charge of the songs of thanksgiving, is the first list. And then the people who stood opposite them to give praise and thanksgiving, one section responding to the other. And I wonder, do you have in your church people who are appointed to be thankful? And I don't think we do in my church, not officially in any way, but is that something we should have? Is there a place in the body of Christ, as there was in the people of Israel, for people whose gift is thankfulness? And I think there is. I think there are people within our congregations, there are people within our churches, within our parachurch bodies and such, who have a thankful spirit, who can see the hand of God moving and can bring that thankfulness to the body. And that's what these guys' jobs were. And their full-time job, apparently, was to sing songs of thanksgiving. And if we don't have somebody like that, maybe it's supposed to be us. Dedication of the Wall of Jerusalem. At the dedication of the Wall of Jerusalem, the Levites were sought out from where they lived and were brought to Jerusalem to celebrate joyfully the dedication with songs of thanksgiving and with music of cymbals, harps, and lyres. The musicians were also brought together from the region around Jerusalem, from the villages of the Netophathites, from Beth Galal, and from Geba and Azmaveth. For the musicians had built villages for themselves around Jerusalem. When the priests and Levites had purified themselves ceremonially, they purified the people, the gates, and the wall. I had the leader of Judah go up on top of the wall. I also assigned 2 large choirs to give thanks. One was to proceed on top of the wall to the right towards the dung gate, and Hoshea and half the leaders of Judah followed them, along with Azariah, Ezra, Meshullam, Judah, Benjamin, Shemaiah, Jeremiah, as well as some of the priests with trumpets, and also Zechariah, son of Jonathan, the son of Shemaiah, the son of Mattaniah, the son of Micaiah, the son of Zakur, the son of Asaph, and his associates, Shemaiah, Azarel, Malai, Galai, Ma'ai, Nathaniel, Judah, and Hanai, with musical instruments prescribed by David, the man of God. Ezra, the teacher of the law, led the procession. At the fountain gate, they continued directly up the steps of the city of David on the ascent to the wall, and passed above the site of David's palace to the water gate on the east. The second choir proceeded in the opposite direction. I followed them on the top of the wall, together with half the people, past the tower of the ovens to the broad wall, over the gates of Ephraim, the Jeshanai gate, the fish gate, the tower of Hanel, and the tower of the 100, as far as the sheep gate. At the gate of the guard they stopped. The 2 choirs that gave thanks then took their places in the house of God. So did I, together with half the officials, as well as the priests, Eliakim, Maaseiah, Miniamin, Micaiah, Elionai, Zechariah, and Hananiah with their trumpets, and also Maaseiah, Shemaiah, Eleazar, Uzi, Jehohanan, Malchijah, Elam, and Ezer. The choir sang under the directions of Jezreiah, and on that day they offered great sacrifices, rejoicing because God had given them great joy. The women and children also rejoiced. The sound of rejoicing in Jerusalem could be heard far away. At the time, men were appointed to be in charge of the storerooms for the contributions, first fruits, and tithes. From the fields around the town, they were to bring into the storerooms the portions required by the law for the priests and the Levites. For Judah was pleased with the ministering priests and Levites. They performed the service of their God and the service of purification, as did also the musicians and gatekeepers, according to the commands of David and his son Solomon. For long ago, in the days of David and Asaph, there have been directors for the music and for the songs of praise and thanksgiving to God. So in the days of Zerubbabel and Nehemiah, all Israel contributed the daily portions for the musicians and the gatekeepers. They also set aside the portion for the other Levites, and the Levites set aside a portion for the descendants of Aaron. It's a party, this dedication to Jerusalem. I love that they go out to the villages that have been founded by the musicians. I'm thinking if I wanted to stay someplace, that might be a pretty cool place to stay, out there with the musicians. But these are people whose full-time job, again, is the praise of God. And they also, along with the priests and the gatekeepers and the people guarding the storerooms and the people who are bringing in the offerings, are all serving in the temple. But their job is the praise of God. And so they hold this celebration of dedication where they're marching along this newly rebuilt wall, half of the choirs in one direction and half in the other direction until they meet, and then they go up to the house of God. And it is a day of celebration. It is a day to recognize what God has done through their hands, right? This wasn't a miraculous thing where God recreated the wall, but God brought up a leader, Nehemiah, and the people inspired to do the work got this work done in record time as they rebuilt this wall in the face of opposition. And so now that they've done it, they do what we should do when we've accomplished something. They celebrate. We have one more chapter in Nehemiah, and then we'll move on, as I said, to Galatians. If you have any questions, send an email to host@thebiblestudypodcast.com, or better yet, leave a comment at thebiblestudypodcast.com. And thanks so much for listening.
A powerful prayer life does not require hiking a mountain to be able to hear from God. God can meet us right in the middle of our busy lives to help, guide, and speak to us through prayer. I'm Christina Patterson, host of the Teach Us to Pray podcast, providing practical teaching and encouragement on how you can make prayer a natural and consistent part of your everyday life. I promise it won't require hiking a mountain, but you just might develop the faith to move one. Listen and subscribe at lifeaudio.com.